I feel like I've been saying this a lot more often lately, but we're going to do something a little different today. A friend of mine who's really gotten into the TurboGrafx told me he was doing some testing on an indie-developed game. Of course, curious, I initially checked out the game's demo a few months ago at a small local convention, but I didn't really get the chance to delve into it. Lucky for me, the developer graciously provided me with a demo to check out. So, without further ado, let's have a look-see at Henshin Engine. Church here, and welcome to the Game Grinder. Today we'll be previewing Henshin Engine. Currently on Kickstarter and being developed by indie developer Saru Studio, Henshin Engine is a mixed media project, meaning not only is there a game in development, but there's also a comic as well covering a more in-depth look at the characters and backstory. Led by character creator, designer, and pixel artist Saramaru, along with Notvite, lead programmer and game planning, Henshin Engine began as a passion project and quickly became more ambitious. I mentioned before my friend in the TurboGrafx-CD team, known elsewhere as the PC Engine, and this is relevant because this game is being created with the initial intention of being a physical disc-based release for the disc-based system add-on I'll just call the Turbo CD. It's also planned to be physically released, giggity, for the PC. At the time of this review, the game is slated to be released in March of 2017. The story of Henshin Engine follows Yuki Shirokawa, who started her career at game developer and console manufacturer JEC, like NEC, developers of the Turbo Duo. Get it? Her favorite system is the FX engine, again a play on words, and she'll eventually discover a new system in development. When she picks up this prototype, she's engulfed in light and transformed into FX unit Yuki and zapped into the virtual world within. Inside of the game's system, she's recruited to track down glitches and will be mentored along the way by Master M. Unfortunately, JEC has a rival, the SG Corporation, Sega. They had stolen enough information about the FX engine prototype to create their own unit that will help them achieve market domination. Ultra Drive Unit Jenny is sent into the unreleased games of JEC to destroy them. Henshin Engine is a 2D action side-scroller, straight up and pretty straightforward, being released in this gaming generation. If released in the late 80s and early 90s, would definitely fit in and stand out with its 8-bit counterparts on the more popular consoles at the time. Yuki's abilities consist of a slashing attack, a crouching punch, and a high jump. As the standard platformer goes, making our way through the levels consists of defeating various enemies along the way, avoiding pits, and defeating a boss at the end. One mix-up to the typical formula, though, is some added variety in the levels. In the demo, the first level consists of a simple tutorial section, the second is a Wonder Boy type level, and the third is a total nod to the well-known side-scrolling Q-em-up Cotton, but this one is Satin, 50%. I'm not super well versed in the Turbo CD library of games, so I cannot speak that how much of the design and overall quality stacks up against previous releases, but compared to what I have played for the 16-bit era, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. There's a lot of care and attention put into the game's design. Unlike something like Shovel Knight or Shantae, Henshin Engine is under the limitations of the Turbo CD hardware. The game is creative and colorful, and there's a lot of things I really enjoyed. I'm a sucker for sprite animation, and Yuki and Jenny are well designed. If you haven't caught on, the game's levels all take inspiration from other classic releases, and their scenery and enemies are a spot-on reflection of what it's a tribute of. There's a nice variety of enemies, such as the drones in the first level, crabs and snails in the second, and the bees. The bees. Not the bees.
What is it? 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 Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Oh, my eyes! My eyes!
The bees aren't actually that bad once you figure them out. Other small things that really stood out to me were things like Yuki's character portrait during gameplay. During conversations, there's plenty of facial expressions to add that much more character to the game, and during gameplay, her expression will change depending on how much energy she has remaining. Also really loved the stage complete celebration and the added vocalization, just a cute touch. Yuki also says the yeah when she picks up health refilling fruit that may be dropped by an enemy. Speaking of health, this game definitely goes old school, where upon losing all lives, we'll start back at the beginning of the game. It could be considered a tough game, but it's definitely fair about it. Besides the tight controls, fun character and level designs, there's a seriously bitchin' soundtrack to accompany the gameplay. One thing I am familiar with when it comes to the Turbo CD is the awesome soundtracks that were used in games like Lords of Thunder, Blazing Lasers, and Henshin Engine is no exception. The composer, Simon Johansson, who's also known as Garbled Waves, is someone I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more from when the game is fully completed. If you've been following my previous game reviews for any length of time, it's easy to assume that a deeply layered, retro electro rock soundtrack is always a high point for the game. So my thoughts on this demo. Well, despite a friend having some involvement, and his stake in it being seeing another Turbo game released, and getting a copy of the game for himself, if I didn't like what I had originally played a few months back, I'd have no interest in getting my hands on the full demo and doing a preview of it. What's my stake in it? I thoroughly enjoyed playing through the demo. It took me a few tries to complete it, and I had fun the entire time. When I finished it, I wanted to play more. I want to see this game completed, so there you go. After I finished my playthrough, I immediately went on Kickstarter and backed the game for myself. At the time of this review, the Henshin Engine Kickstarter is close to reaching its goal of $16,400, with a few thousand left to hit their goal. I'm really hoping some of the stretch goals are met, because more funding equals more content, which is always awesome. Some goals include a Dreamcast port, and even other retro console ports like the SNES and Genesis. Of course, I'll put all the necessary links to the website and the Kickstarter in the description, and really encourage you to check it out and share it around. Any and all support matters. But like I said, don't take my word for it, try it out for yourself. Thanks for checking out my preview of Henshin Engine. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked what you've seen or heard, please give the video a like, a share, and subscribe to see future videos. I'm on Twitter and Facebook as well, and post a lot of other great game-related content there, and links are in the description. Until next time on the Game Grinder.